Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Junior,
And I'm Tito,
and we're
the
the
Nerdy
Nerdy
Bros.
Bros. Guys, this episode is going to be a short one, but a special one
Yes, very special indeed, especially to us.
for our dad passed away a couple days ago, so this episode is going to be dedicated to him and the memory of him. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, we're sorry that been on. I don't know if hiatus is the right term. Obviously, we've been dealing with a lot of stuff, so it's been a little hard to just kind of jump on and try to set out a podcast for you guys. And obviously, I don't expect for anyone to be upset with us, but Junior and I would still like to say, like, obviously, like we wish that we could be putting out new material for you guys every week, like we have been doing. I know that we had like a small hiccup like a few months ago where we missed a week, and now we've kind of basically missed 2 weeks.
yeah.
Or at least this one's going to be coming out late.
Obviously, it's extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, but we just want to let you know we're glad for everyone that kind of listens to us, supports us, and in lieu of kind of doing an episode for our dad, we also kind of figured that um, he wouldn't want us to just kind of give up on this. I mean, it's not like Junior and I are skyrocketing and like we have like millions of listeners or whatever, or even thousands of listeners, but I still feel like he would
Or
want,
even hundreds of
yeah,
listeners.
he would still want to see us continue doing this.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason why.
Because he knows that we liked it, and he would try to listen sometimes. So he was him and mom are definitely like one of our biggest fans, obviously, which is great for to have your parents' support. But uh, I mean, honestly, you know it as well as I do. Like, dad is probably because we've talked about it before. Dad is obviously one of the biggest reasons that we got into liking movies and TV and stuff. Like dad was a big movie guy too.
For sure. I mean, the we talked about before, like the Disney collection of movies that we had, and I remember he used to say that he would just buy a bunch of movies for us to watch to kind of keep, his 3 kids entertained. While 'cause I think it was right when mom started working, he would come home and she would immediately have to leave to go to work. So he was like, movies got you guys to sit down and chill after like I was tired from working. So yeah, definitely huge into falling into the whole of the love for Disney that we have is definitely a huge thanks and a tribute to Dad.
Again, just in general, just movies. I think that we just got a huge love for movies from dad. Not just Disney, but definitely Disney
Yeah,
because we owned like almost every single Disney movie, well, like animated Disney movie, and even some non-animated that were still for like kids and stuff like in existence at the time. So we definitely got a huge love for movies and stuff from our dad for sure. So with that being said, we're just gonna hop right into this. And I thought that it would be kind of cool. Um, like we're not gonna sit here and just talk about our dad, even though we could, but like that's not what this podcast is about. So I thought that it'd be cool if we went through like basically the type of stuff that we talk about: TV, movies, anime, video games, all that jazz, comics that our dad was into. Um, that's what I thought would be kind of a cool idea. So, without further ado, we're gonna start with movies, and we'll talk about some of these movies you might know, some of them you might not know. So we'll try to explain them a little bit. Maybe give a memory or two of something that we remember, and yeah, I mean, if you think of something that I don't have on here, Tito, like feel free to like jump in as I'm going through the list. If you're like, oh yeah, this one. So the first one that I have down here is The Man from Snowy River, which is a Disney movie, but maybe it's like owned by Disney, but it's not like a Disney property. I'm not sure because it does say Disney, but it's not on Disney Plus, and like most Disney movies are now on Disney Plus. I know it was like all Australian actors and stuff like that.
I did not know
and it was
that.
like filmed in Australia, I'm pretty sure. Except for Brian Dennehy, who played the dad.
I'm Brian Dennehy.
Here's your loan application, here's the door, which is one of the memories that I have. That was like the famous line. And that actually I think is from the second one, which is Return to Snowy River. is that line. But essentially, it's this young guy, horseback rider. I'm not even sure like what his job is. A rancher, I think.
Yeah.
And he's in love with this like rich guy who's like trying to buy up like all this land or something like that. He's in love with his daughter, Jessica. And it's kind of like a love story, but like there's a whole bunch of turmoil. It's like uh it's like a modern day western kind of. There's like, cattle rustlers, and like I said, the main character uh is a is like a rancher. So a whole bunch of stuff happens, but like dad loved those movies. We used to watch them all the time. It was almost like a weekend, every weekend,
I
because
feel like, yeah, he did like it.
yeah, dad had that type, like me and dad both have like addictive personalities, which sometimes is not the best thing. Thank God neither one of us got into like drugs or whatever. But we found other things. Like every single time dad found like a new restaurant, that was the only restaurant he wanted to go for, like all the time. He's like, "Hey, I'm going here. Hey, I'm going here. You want to go there?" And it's like, dude, we just had that like 3 days ago. It was like once he found something that he liked,
He like stuck to it for a while.
yeah, he stuck to that for a while until he found the new thing. And that's how he was with like movies. Like every single time he'd be like, "Hey, put that movie on." It's like, dude, we've seen this movie 1,000 times, and he's like, "I like that movie."
Yeah, it's funny. So this is something I did think about. One thing that Dad and I really enjoyed growing up, and I was way too little for these movies watching them with Dad, but I remember just watching them all. And I don't particularly remember that you and Brian were like right there side by side with us when we watched them. I just remember this is more of like a fond memory. Like he was like my introduction to like young Steven Seagal.
Oh, I was just about to say,
Yeah.
Steven Seagal was his dude.
Yeah. Young Steven Seagal, all those movies, like Out for Justice.
I mean, he didn't let us watch all of them. He let us.
Mom was the voice of reason for stuff that we shouldn't be doing. Dad was not.
I mean, I still think they wouldn't let us watch them at certain, because I remember when Hard to Kill came out, we didn't watch that one right when it came out, but like a year or two later, it was like, oh, 8 years old, too young. But as soon as you hit double digits, like, all right, you can watch this rated R movie. I'm gonna tell you to cover your eyes if there's nudity, like it's gonna be fine because it's just violence.
Like I feel like that was like I feel like they tried it. Yeah, they try to sometimes steer away from too much maybe swearing or like you said like nudity or sexual scenes, but like violence, like Dad was like, nah, it's fine. This is for them. Like they're boys.
This
is
like part of life.
Yeah, just Steven Seagal breaking people's wrists and just knocking them out. But yeah, I remember those pretty fondly.
Going back just to the Man from Snowy River, my dad. Well, actually, it was Tito that used to call him caballito movies, which means horse or horsey, because Tito you'd get on the arm.
Yeah, on the arm of the couch.
On the arm of the couch and ride it like it was a fucking horse.
Like gallop basically.
Yeah.
Whenever they were on, whenever there was the like.
Remember the horse
the
galloping?
Chase, the chase scenes. I was just like, I'm on a horse too, guys.
So those, like I said, those are like Disney movies. Another one, that was a live action Disney movie, and this one is on Disney Plus. So if you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. Very good movie. Iron Will. That was one of Dad's favorite movies too. And honestly, it's come to be like one of my favorite movies too. Like that, I love that movie.
And that's not. Was that sled racing or was that delivering like mail?
No. That was the race.
That was the race?
Yeah, the Iron Will was about dog sled racing, and the reason was the kid Will loses his dad at the beginning of the movie. He gets his sled starts to fall into the frozen river or lake, and the dad cuts the dogs loose and they go free, and the dad falls in and he drowns and he passes away. So they're gonna lose their farm, and Will, who's like 16 or 17, decides that he's gonna do this dog sled race that's like a certain amount of miles or whatever, and like the cash prize is like $50,000 or something like that. This is Kevin Spacey's bullshit that was going on or that he did or whatever. He's in that movie, and his character is a news reporter, and he's the one that pays the entrance fee for Will to join the race. But yeah, that, I mean, again, this is just, it was one of those, it's just one of those great, like, it's not like a sports movie. It's like one of those great sports movies about never giving up. And that dad was huge on messages in movie. Like whenever the movie was over, he'd be like, yeah, it was a good movie. Did you get the message? Did you get the message behind the movie or whatever? Mm-hmm. That was like his big thing, was like always being like, movies are great, but there's something behind it. And that's part of the reason where like, I'm like that now, where I'm like, yeah, the movie was cool, but did you get what was going on or whatever? Like, did you see the big picture? Did you get the thing? Yeah, that movie's awesome. Yeah, that was one that we saw with Dad tons of times. And even to this day, I probably saw it like within the last year and a half, either by myself or with Dad, because again, those are the ones that even though we've been seeing them as kids, he was just like, put Iron Will on. And it was just like, dude, we've seen this like 1,000 times, dude. And then he was like, I love that movie. Just put it on. And we would just like end up watching it again. Next up, Tombstone.
Oh, you just watched that.
Yeah, I think
just in memory of him a couple days ago. Which is a fantastic movie. One that we have talked on this podcast before because it's such a famous Western movie. It's so good.
Yeah, and it was one of Dad's favorites.
For sure.
Tombstone, great movie. We've talked about it before. So,
Val Kilmer, and you were literally just watching a documentary about.
Yeah, I just watched the Val Kilmer documentary. He just put that out. I didn't know he had throat cancer, and he beat it, but now his voice is like fucked up, and he has the hole in his throat, and it's fucking sad. But I watched this documentary kind of about his life. Him and his brothers. He also, it was 3 boys. Him and his brothers used to like to do what we used to like to do and like make movies on home video and stuff like that. And I think it was his youngest brother.
I don't know if we ever talked about the fact that we did that.
Yeah, we've definitely done that.
Yeah. When we were younger. Yeah.
But his youngest, I think it was his youngest brother, Wesley, had an epilepsy thing happen to him while he was in the hot tub, and he drowned.
Oh, shit.
And it was like when he was like 15, like Wesley, and I think Val had like just gone off to college, so he was like 19 or something like that, 18, 19. So it was, he was the one that was like gonna be like this great director. Like he was the one that had all the ideas and all that. But yeah, it just reminded me of like us 3 and how we would take Dad's video camera and be like, hey, let's fucking make a movie or some shit and just fuck around or whatever. So yeah, Tombstone is a great Western movie. I think it was like 1993. If you haven't seen it, holy shit, it's on Amazon Prime. You should watch it. Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, Sam Elliott, not Randy Quaid. It's Dennis Quaid's brother. I know that there's also 3 of them. It's like Dennis Quaid, Randy Quaid, and then there's another one. Great. That's a great movie. Billy Zane is in that movie. He's the kind of like antagonist in Titanic.
Oh yeah.
He's like the actor guy. Great movie. If you haven't seen it,
Billy Zane. He's also in Zoolander.
If you haven't seen it, you should. It's amazing. Some of the best, like, that movie is extremely quotable, especially just Val Kilmer's character, Doc Holliday.
Doc Holliday
is If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's on Amazon. You can watch it in memory of our dad because he loved that movie. Hidalgo. Dad really had a thing with like westerns and horses.
Yeah, well, like animal movies too.
Yeah. Animal movies.
Like,
yeah. He loved nature.
Yeah, he had a soft spot for nature. And he said he had like 11 or 12 dogs.
He had a lot of dogs growing up. Yeah.
Yeah, Hidalgo.
Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, Viggo Mortensen. That's also a race
That's
movie.
a race movie, yeah. Against across the Sahara Desert, I believe.
Yeah.
In Africa. And
The only thing I remember about that movie is
he's like the only American.
Yeah. I remember that he's supposed to be like giving somebody a horse, like trading a horse, I think, for a woman, because they had like kidnapped somebody's daughter, and then they had like put like a carpet over the middle of the horse, and somebody's just like, wait, and then they flip it up, and the horse has just been like painted to look the color that it was supposed to be.
Yeah. They were supposed to be trading like one of the Arabian horses, which was all black.
Yeah.
It was Al Hatal or some shit like that. Like the horse had a name.
Yeah.
And that was the one that was going to win the race. They're like, this horse is gonna win the race.
Yeah.
And Viggo Mortensen's character is not named Hidalgo. That's the name of his horse. That is a great movie as well. I think Viggo Mortensen's character is half Native American. Like his mom is Native American and his dad is American. And so he has like this special connection with nature and stuff. Dad also loved like Native American movies. Like he thought,
I mean, Dances with Wolves and Last Samurai, like he loved those movies too.
Yeah. I was gonna say I forgot to write down Last Samurai, but that was one of his favorite ones too.
Fantastic movie.
Squanto. We used to watch that a lot when we were younger, and just recently started.
I want sensational.
Yes, George. That was one.
What Squanto?
Yeah. It was like Squanto, A Warrior's Tale, or something like that.
Indian in the Cupboard too, just kind of bouncing
my
off
God,
of Native
yes,
American.
Dad
He
loved that
loved
movie.
Indian in the Cupboard.
So you know what? So did our grandpa, Mom's dad. I remember watching that with him.
That rat jumping out of that like hole in the floor still gets me every time.
Yeah.
Like I can never. I'm always just like, it's coming. It's gonna be right now, and it's not gonna scare me, and it scares me every time.
Yeah, that's a great movie. Also, Spirit, which is a DreamWorks movie,
with Matt Damon as the main character.
Spirit.
I like it constantly.
An animated movie.
Yeah, it blows my mind how like often like some like these famous actors were doing these voice actor roles in like these earlier Disney movies, and like it's just
DreamWorks.
Well, like it's just kind of like funny to me that because I feel like now usually they'll say like what actors are going to be like in the movie like as voice actors, but back then they didn't
like draw
it
people
took me,
in.
It took because I think honestly like because when they're
like kids are gonna be like, I want to see this.
Yeah,
and
when
Mom
they're
and Dad,
aimed
the
at kids,
parents
they
gonna
don't
take
care.
them.
They don't care about who's the voice actor. Or whatever. But like, I'm pretty sure it was years after Cars came out where I was like, that was Owen Wilson the whole time. Like, because I was too young back then to really like be able to just depict his voice off of Lightning McQueen. But I was just like, how come they didn't say anything? But yeah, Matt Damon is the main character in Spirit, and he was.
I think I've only seen that movie like once.
He doesn't talk. The horse doesn't talk. Matt Damon just narrates from the horse's point of view.
Right. It's like all voiceover. So it's like the horse isn't actually talking.
Well, there's humans in the movie too, and the humans talk.
Yeah.
It's just like basically like the horse thinks in Matt Damon and narrates the movie / talks to himself.
Yeah, but it's basically about a wild Mustang that gets captured, and they keep trying to break him, and he's like unbreakable.
Get off of my back! As I feel like the song that's playing when they're trying to break him.
Yeah,
there's like, is it No, not the Civil War. It's I don't know if it's set during the Revolution or the French and Indian War because there's clearly like settlers.
No. It's that time when we were doing the Manifest Destiny and expanding to the West.
Okay, that's what we're doing. Yeah.
So it's like during the time of cowboys and stuff. There was all that expansion going.
Well, I just remember because I don't remember if the horse's name was Spirit or not, but it's like a bunch of military men because he's in like an encampment and they're trying to break him.
Like Union soldiers.
Yeah. That's why. Yeah, exactly. Union soldiers. That's what I was thinking. Was it like during the Civil War? But no, you're right. It was during like Manifest Destiny and stuff like that.
All right. One of Dad's other like favorite movies. Well, okay, so let's talk about some of those other ones that you just mentioned because that The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise, that was one of Dad's like really
that's like one of my favorite movies.
Mine
like,
too.
Definitely in my
like, Dad like would like drag us in and watching it with him. So like every time it's on, I have to like sit down and watch it. Like I don't ever like. I mean, we don't have cable, so it's not like I change the channel. But like if Dad was watching it, like I'd be like, all right, cool. So I'm gonna sit down and watch
Yeah.
this with you. Or
Oh,
whatever.
what's this? Last Samurai? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just.
Yeah, great. Tom Cruise movie.
I just love Japanese culture too. Like,
And he's a Union soldier, and he gets contracted to train a Japanese army to take on the final remnants of the Japanese samurais. And Tom Cruise
like,
gets
they're kind of in like open rebellion or whatever.
Tom Cruise gets captured, and he gets like brought onto their side, which
Didn't
is
we
like you said, like
argue
Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, didn't we argue on whether or not The Last Samurai was Dances with Wolves or not? Basically,
Well, I
think we argued
think,
about another one too.
Yeah, I think it was because we were talking about Avatar.
Oh, because Avatar is Alien Dances with Wolves.
Yeah. But like that's why I said like, how can that's why? Well, because my point was, if The Last Samurai is that, how come you were like, I love The Last Samurai, but you're like, I can't get into Avatar? If they're the same, why does it matter?
No, I don't think that's what it was. Is that what I said? I thought I said I liked the first one. I just didn't really understand. Because I think it started with the fact that it's been, like over 10 years since, like...
yeah, but it doesn't matter.
next
Like,
one's supposed to come
because
out.
recently I was like, I want to, like, rewatch that movie because I just recently went to Disney World and I got on the ride, and the ride was fucking crazy and awesome. And I said to you, like, there's going to be another one. And you were just like, yeah, I don't think I'd watch it again. But it's like, how many times have we seen The Last Samurai?
Well, but the last Avatar is not samurais.
I mean, yeah. But
So like I could watch The Last Samurai.
just
probably
badass, like,
weekly.
battles with, like, aliens and mechs and shit.
No, it's all right. I love The Last Samurai.
See, that's what I said. You said it's all right.
It's all right.
So that's what I'm saying.
I never said I hated it though. I just said it
Saying
was.
it's all right is like, yeah, I don't really care.
So like, but if you have all these that are categorized as someone
All right,
basically
I didn't
adopts
want
a
to get
culture
into the
that's
weeds
not
about
there.
this. That was the fucking movie we were talking about.
Yeah.
But The Last Samurai, again, one of the ones where Dad was like, I love that culture. Like, that culture is all about, like, honor and respect and, like, not giving up. And, like, fucking A, like, when they do, they'd much like, their honor means so much to them that, like, in the movie, when they lose that first battle where Tom Cruise gets taken, the general, like, partially takes his own life by stabbing himself and, like, gunning himself, and then Katsumoto cuts off his fucking head.
Yeah.
So shit's crazy. All right, so moving on. Wedding Crashers.
That was like one that Dad would like always say like is his like favorite movie.
Yeah,
like
just you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
New age like movie that he just loved rewatching.
I mean, Dad was big into comedies too.
Yeah.
The thing
Except
is,
for
we'll get into it. Like, he was more into Mexican comedies, but like he loved Wedding Crashers.
Yeah. I mean, to this day we still do too. We quote it all
yeah.
the time. Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, hilarious dream team in that movie. Also Rachel McAdams, and then what's
Christopher Walken.
Oh, Christopher Walken too. I was thinking more the
Isla Fisher.
Isla Fisher. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, the super funny movie. But yeah, Dad and Will Ferrell.
And that was like, I want to say, I don't know. I think that was before The Hangover. That was like Bradley Cooper. I feel like his first big role.
Yeah.
And he was like the villain.
Yes, mega douche.
Yeah.
Mega douche in that movie.
Because that was my first introduction to him, and then I saw him in all this other stuff. I'm like, he's playing a good guy now. I liked him as the bad guy.
Yeah. Love Wedding Crashers.
But for whatever reason, Dad was not a fan of Adam Sandler or Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna get into that afterward, but I guess we can.
Well, I mean, we're talking about comedies right now. Like,
I guess we can get into it
because
right
mom likes Jim Carrey, but doesn't like
no.
Adam Sandler.
She's exactly the same.
Well, but she also doesn't like Will Ferrell. I thought maybe
she liked Elf and stuff. It's certain ones.
Okay.
Like Mom liked 50 First Dates. But,
yeah. But that's all right. That was just a
since
good
Tito
story.
decided to bring it up, we'll just talk about it right now. So here's things that my dad hated, or just didn't really get.
We'll say that.
The Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, the Matrix trilogy, The Simpsons, and anything with Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey.
Yeah, was for whatever reason just not a fan.
Yeah, that's where he's
He
like
loved
I like
Family
comedy.
Guy.
Yes, he loved Family Guy,
but didn't like The Simpsons.
yeah, and it's just like I like comedy, so it's like the two biggest, like arguably the two of the biggest comedians, in Hollywood, Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey, and you're just like fucking can't stand them.
Also for Family Guy, he called Peter "cara de mis huevos," which is basically just ball sack face, man. Yeah, ball sack face. That's what he called them.
But, I mean, he's not wrong. It's not like it's
well,
not the first time that that joke's been made.
Right.
All right, so like I said, our dad really liked Mexican comedy movies, and these two actors did both comedies and like dramas and stuff like that. Pedro Infante was like a huge Mexican actor in the 1940s and 1950s.
He was more like, I feel like his. I don't want to necessarily call them, or maybe they were musicals. Like I feel like his
I wouldn't call them musicals, but I would say that like he also was a singer and put out records.
But I feel like every single one of his movies had like songs in them.
Yes.
That's why I would say, like, I don't know if you would consider it a musical. I felt like he was just like, here's one of my songs and now it's in one of my movies.
I mean, because that's like saying that like I wouldn't say every single Disney movie is a musical, but like a lot of Disney movies have songs.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know how to categorize that at all. Like I feel like I understand completely what a musical is, but then sometimes when you have like a Disney movie that, well, here's the other thing. Disney movies that just have like songs that were made for like the background, like specifically songs were made for that movie in the background, and it's not the characters themselves singing it, I wouldn't say that's a musical. But when you have like the characters themselves that are singing all the songs, I feel like technically that's a musical, isn't it?
Kind of. I don't know, dude. It's like, I feel like, I don't know, for some reason I like categorize certain I almost say like animated movies can't be musicals, which is stupid. It's a stupid thing to say, but like I almost feel like it's the live action.
What I mean is basically musical. Tarzan. Tarzan is not a musical. However, they made an entire soundtrack for that movie. And I think the only song that is actually kind of sung is the one with
Trash in the Camp.
Yeah, Trash in the Camp. Tarzan's mom kind of starts the one song, Come Stop Your Crying. Yeah, starts that one, but then it's just all Phil Collins in the background. But like a movie like
amazing soundtrack, by the way.
But Phil Collins, just genius. But a movie like Frozen, where the characters sing every single one of the songs. That's what I mean by like, you'll have something like Tarzan, which I would be like, not a musical. But then Frozen, like if somebody told me that was a musical, I'd probably agree.
But here's the thing, like I think that's just like, that's Disney, because like Shrek, like DreamWorks movies are also like animated, aimed towards kids and have songs, but they don't have the characters singing the songs.
That's what I'm saying. So not a musical. That's
but
just
like
part of like
Disney has both, but like I'd say that Disney has one more over the other. But for some reason I'm just like, that's just the Disney thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
We got a little sidetracked.
Yeah. But anyway, Pedro Infante, and it wasn't a lot of singing. He would have like a song.
Yeah, maybe a song.
Two.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of those movies were black and white, and our dad loved watching them, especially on the weekend. Sometimes it was like a Saturday filled where my parents were just binging.
Well, he had a huge collection of those and Cantinflas.
Yes, and Cantinflas was the other guy whose name is Adrian Moreno, actually.
And he was like extremely famous, not just necessarily in Mexico, also in the U.S. back in the day.
Came into the U.S. also.
He was friends with like Charlie Chaplin, and Cantinflas I don't think we have like an older audience because you'd have to be pretty old. But Cantinflas was in the original Around the World in 80 Days.
Yeah. He played Passepartout.
Yeah.
Who was supposed to be played by a French guy.
Yeah. And then the remake was played by Jackie Chan.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this guy Adrian Moreno. Now I'm like Mario. His name was Mario Moreno,
Oh,
not
okay.
Adrian Moreno. Mario Moreno, aka Cantinflas. That was the character that he played in like every movie.
Yes.
Cantinflas.
Well, like at that point, that was just like what he became known as. Like,
Yes. Well, because it was always this. He always played the same. He always had the same name for the most part, but it was the character wasn't always exactly the same in all these different movies that we watched. But like my favorite one was El Barrendero,
Yes.
and where he played a street sweeper who like uncovered these like jewel thieves and like these robbers that were going on, and there was like all this corruption going on in the union or whatever. It's a comedy. Cantinflas like pretty much only did comedies. Super fucking funny guy. But yeah, those were another one that like I was like, I'm almost glad because like mom also kind of grew up watching some of those because mom's like one of the younger siblings in her family. But like dad, I think that if it wasn't
like,
for dad, we wouldn't have gotten into
Dad
like
was
those
the
movies.
second oldest, and
Yeah.
Mom was the second youngest.
Yes. And I don't think that we would have gotten into some of these movies had it not been for our parents.
Yeah.
But like I'm glad we did because even to this day, like I sometimes will like pop one of those in and watch it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we just got just a few more here. TV wise, my dad really liked comedies. Three Stooges, he was a huge Three Stooges fan, and that's like what got us into it. Tom and Jerry, the old Tom and Jerry cartoons, and the old Mickey Mouse cartoons, and the old Looney Tunes. Dad actually like would tell us a story about how he had an old ass projector that he would buy the reels of the Mickey Mouse cartoons, and he would put them up for our cousin, his nephew, when he was like 3 to 5 years old. Like our cousin would be like, "Hey, let's watch cartoons," and my dad would be like, "All right." My dad had to like set up the projector, put the reels in, hook everything up, and then fucking play them on the wall or whatever. For our cousin, who's like now in his 40s.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like my dad was in his fucking mid 20s or whatever, and he like loved Disney cartoons and shit like that. So I was and so obviously he went out and he bought these projectors and he bought this stuff. So I'm sure he wasn't just I'm sure he didn't just buy them just for our cousin, because I'm sure those movies weren't cheap back in the day. It's
Probably
not like
not,
there was
no.
not like there were mass productions or whatever, like there are now. So he loved that. Looney Tunes cartoons. He got us into Looney Tunes. Yeah, he loved like all Bugs Bunny. And Steven still. Now, like I watch him with my kids and stuff, and like Dad would be over a couple times, and we'd be fucking sitting there on the couch laughing our asses off. Even though like I'd seen these cartoons fucking 100 times now or whatever, but always classics. Yeah, Dad just loved that, like that physical comedy. Anytime that like Tom would get like his tail smashed or cut or
people, just somebody getting hit in the head, bonked in the head with something heavy.
yeah. Three
would always
Stooges,
make
he
him
loved
laugh.
all that
Especially, it immediately comes to mind is Bugs Bunny and that one episode.
the Robin Hood episode.
Yeah, where he just starts beating the hell out of the sheriff of Nottingham.
Yeah.
I dub thee. It just breaks the royal scepter
The
over
Duke
the
of
dude's head.
Wellington,
Yeah.
like all this shit. Arise. Yeah. And then Disney movies that our dad like really liked. Again, I think that a lot of people, like even now, like it's weird. Like my kids are like, "Are we gonna watch an old movie?" And it's like I don't even know what you like. If I put on Hercules, yeah, that came out when I was a kid, but like that's not old. Like Disney movies.
Watch your tongue.
It's like Disney movies have been coming out.
They
since,
are
like, the
timeless.
fucking 40s.
They
or
are
whatever.
timeless. Yeah.
Like Dad loved. Well, Goofy movie is new. That came out when we were kids, but like Robin Hood, where they're all played by animals.
That one's
the
fantastic.
Aristocats.
Fantastic.
Those are
what
some
color
of Dad's,
are
like,
they?
favorite movies.
Well,
Sword in
they're
the Stone.
Well, they're brown. Now, how would I know that? Sword
Dad
in the Stone
loves
was,
Sword in the Stone.
Sword in the Stone was
Yeah.
one of his all-time favorites.
Yeah. He used to love the
Aladdin.
Yeah, he liked to quote the everything Merlin. Dad
Yeah.
would say that all the time. Referencing this part where Merlin says he knows everything, and Archimedes, his
The
owl,
yeah.
goes, everything, Merlin? And he's like, well, not everything.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so Dad would like to say that all the time. Yeah, and then we mentioned Family Guy. He loved Family Guy. I wrote down ants. I don't know if that was just us, but, like, I feel like maybe that was just us. I don't know.
I think Dad liked that. Well, one of like the first times that we watched it in reference of like.
Well, Sylvester Stallone was
Well,
voiced.
yeah, but it was more so like the unity of them and like what they did, like kind of at the end coming together as like a group. I think Dad really liked
Pixar.
that.
Dad was big, like Toy Story. Dad loved the Toy Story movies.
Yes.
Now I'm thinking A Bug's Life. He liked that because it was like they stood up to the bad guys. Toy Story. Remember there was at the end where Woody spins around and goes, "We toys see everything, so play nice." Dad was like, he would say that to us about playing with our toys. He'd be like,
Yes.
play nice with your toys.
Yeah.
Like, they're your toys. It's your stuff. Don't, like, take care of your stuff. Don't break it. And, like, all that stuff. Like,
Again, just kind of going back to the whole, like, which is kind of funny for a Disney movie's message was just take care of your toys. Not necessarily because they're alive, but because, like, you know,
yeah, it's like, take care of your stuff.
Yeah, take care of your stuff. Like, it's not something just because, like, maybe you didn't pay for it, or even if you did pay for it, like, that doesn't mean you should just trash it or be a Sid.
Yeah.
Don't be a Sid, guys.
Don't be a Sid. And in a world full of Sids, don't be a Sid.
Yeah, be an Andy.
Be an Andy. Or a Bonnie now.
Yes.
Dude, that was a thing that I just, like, thought of recently and, like, I heard about. It's like, kids nowadays, because Disney keeps going forward with, like, as they're going chronologically, all this time you could have gone to Disney World and bought a Buzz or a Woody or another toy, and on the bottom of the foot it would say Andy.
Now it says Bonnie,
and now
yeah.
they all say
I
Bonnie.
saw that on TikTok.
And I was like, yo,
that's crazy. We're old.
that's nuts that, like, now you could go to Disney World and you won't be able to find. It's like, think about it. That means, like, all those toys will be, like, fucking
I'll definitely be like a collector. Yeah, definitely a collectible.
I think Mom and Dad actually wrote Brian underneath.
Yes, on his
on Woody's foot because
Yes.
Brian had a Woody.
We also had a Buzz at one point too.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it. I don't know if there's anything else that you can think of.
I don't think so. Like,
Dad wasn't really into video games.
No.
He said that
But I do remember how, like, I think I kind of cherished the idea of the fact that, number one, it's not like we, like, now today that we all, like, made our own money and stuff. Like, obviously we all have our own, like, systems, but back then we would have to share, like, a single system between three brothers. And as much as, like, I feel like back in the day I used to hate it, I don't know. There were lessons to be learned, responsibility, the fact that we were only allowed to play on the weekends, and then it was just, you know, sharing whatever, like, single player games or playing multiplayer games together.
yeah, like I was definitely, like, bonding because we had to play together, sit next to each other, play on one TV. We only had one console or whatever. But yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I remember just, like, Dad telling stories about, like, if Grandma would send him to the store to, like, pick something up, and if he had a little change, instead of, like, wasting it on, well, he would say wasting it on, like, the arcade stuff, he would, like, play it like foosball and stuff. Like, he was, like, huge into sports, especially soccer, and he used to love playing, like foosball games and stuff. But yeah, he got into comics a little bit, but he kind of said that they were, like, obviously comics were around before he was born and stuff. But
if I had to say he had a nerdy side, I would say it was way more into, like, reading. But he wasn't really the fantasy type, though.
No. He was, like, book smart, like, hella smart.
Yeah.
My dad.
He would always say,
reading.
"Le algo que te va a dejar," like, read something that's gonna, like, leave you with something, like a lesson or something new to learn.
Yeah. Because you were the only one that really read, and then Dad was like, "Why are you reading, like, Captain Underpants? Like, read something."
Well, first of all, that's just when I was, like, very little. I also liked reading other books as I got, like,
right, but it was always, like, fantasies.
Yes, I loved fantasy stuff. I still do. Like, I'm not saying that books don't hold that type of sway over me. It's just now I have like a somewhat like a shorter attention span where I don't even sometimes I remember coming home from work like uh like 4 or 5 years ago, and I would just be like, oh, I've been playing like my DS, or I would like pop out the old Game Boy SP, and I would literally be playing it and just sitting down in a comfortable position like would almost make me like pass out. So it was like, I don't know. Sometimes I needed something a little bit more, or more often than not, sometimes I would find myself reading a page over and over again because I would lose my spot real quick, or just would get to the bottom of the page and realize like I read this whole thing and completely forgot what this page said. But my best friend has been trying to get me into audiobooks,
Yeah, I like audiobooks, dude.
so maybe I'll have to check that out. But yeah, way more into fantasy stuff.
All right. But anyways, guys, so that's gonna be it for this episode. Um, drop a comment down below. Let us know what, if any of these movies. Let us know what movies you share with a family member, your dad, your mom,
or just a relative, someone that you care about and love.
that you're like, these are the movies that maybe I wouldn't have gotten into had it not been for them, and like now maybe they've passed on, and you're like, I watch these movies and I think of them whenever I watch them or whatever. Just hug your loved ones, because you never know, guys.
Yeah, let everybody know. It doesn't have to specifically be your dad. Call your mom, call your brother, sister, cousin, aunt, whatever it is. Let them know what they mean to you. Even your friends. Sometimes you induct people into your life as your family. Like, it doesn't always have to be blood, but just let them know that you care.
Yeah. But go ahead and you can follow me on Instagram at pops.maniac, as well as nerdy.bros.inc. Where can I find you, Tito?
I'm over on Twitter and Instagram at BanditoTito93, guys. Love to hear from you guys about anything at all.
Yeah, but like I said, let us know about what movies you liked. Let us know what movies you like to watch. Or if you check out any of the movies that we recommended that were some of our dad's favorites, let us know. We'd love to hear about that. But have a good week, guys.
Yeah, have a good week, guys. And once again, love and thank you for all the support. All right, guys. Bye.